The NCAA Men's Lacrosse Tournament is back. Chris Gray continues to amaze.
The Scarlet Knights' first tournament win in 31 years.
Wheaton Shackaboy puts the Irish in front. Slam dunk by Caraway. Hoya paranoia.
Ian Laviano never backs down.
Bernhardt, a human cheat code. He's got a hat trick in the first quarter. Michael Sowers, a human highlight reel.
Highway robbery for Schaefer. The moment of a lifetime. Welcome to the madness.
Moving on to the quarterfinals.
After an amazing opening round weekend, we have moved on to the quarterfinals, and they are here. The first of 4 games this weekend on ESPNU, and it begins here in Hempstead with Georgetown out of the Big East and Virginia, the reigning national champs, out of the ACC. Let's look at Mayhem, where we stand right now. Virginia, Georgetown first today. Park and I will then have North Carolina and Rutgers immediately following here at Hofstra. Tomorrow, 2 games at South Bend, Maryland, Notre Dame, and Duke and Loyola. Alongside Paul Carcaterra, I'm Chris Cotter. Carc, when you look at the 8 teams this weekend, an amazing array of talent, about as deep as I can remember really in the NCAA tournament for quarterfinal weekend.
Look, Chris, when last season was abruptly ended, the expectations for this season were sky high. In 2021, well, it delivered. It smashed those expectations. And I look at these quarterfinal matchups. Honestly, they have championship weekend feel.
And all 5 Tewaaraton finals will be playing in the quarterfinals, including number 19 this afternoon for Georgetown, Jake Caraway.
Well, he's the Hoyas' all-time leading scorer for a reason. Throws absolutely heat in the corners. Overpowers goalies with velocity, but also placement. You look at the quick release and how fast that shot is. He can play in space, he can play in contact. He absolutely stings it, Cotter, and he is the lifeline of this Hoya offense. Put it in the holster, Jake.
All-time leader in goals and points for the Hoyas, and the recipient of all those T.J. Haley passes. Now, for Virginia, meanwhile, they've got plenty of offensive power as well, but they also have a goaltender, Alex Rode, who is the reigning most valuable player for the championship series.
Well, I gave him the nickname Mr. May for a reason. Big stage, bright lights, no sweat. Last week against Bryant, he was the best player on the field. He saved the Cavaliers and let them advance. When you watch Rode, what he's done for this Cavalier defense, when things break down, you got to get through him. And down the stretch, he has been magnificent.
See what he did in 2019. He had 18 saves last weekend against Bryant. Sees a lot of rubber, too. Averaged over 13.5 saves per game. That was good for 6th in the country throughout the regular season. Georgetown is going to be in blue, trimmed in gray. Virginia, meanwhile, in their all-whites, trimmed in navy. As we mentioned, we had no NCAA tournament last year, Clark, so Virginia, they are the reigning national champs, and you got to beat the best if you want to hoist the trophy, and that's what Georgetown is faced with today.
And they have a lot of the same characters from that 2019 run. Matt Moore, who's a 40-40 type player on offense. And then you look at different pieces of the puzzle. Dox Aiken had a monster run down the stretch in 2019, and as I mentioned, Alex Rode, he has been your stopper and your security blanket when things break down.
Always interesting at the face-off, Dot. Petey LaSala, All-American, going against Riley James, who has certainly held his own. He comes in with a percentage at about 58%. That's good for 17th in the country. James wins the face-off. Initial possession of Georgetown are underway.
James Riley.
This is the matchup within the matchup. James Riley, 33 in blue. Petey LaSala, 23 in white. 2 scrappers at the X, but also lacrosse players who can make plays in between the lines.
Flag down, and already, first minute of this game, we get our first flag. And it's a push in the back. With possession, we've got a Georgetown player down. Got to check on the injured player and the call.
White, 28, legal body check, 1 minute.
White, 28, legal body check.
Connors guilty of the illegal body check, so it'll be a 1-minute man up for Georgetown already in this game.
Yeah, Connors aggressive in the middle of the field for the Wahoos. Push from the rear, also potential cross check there as he leads with his shaft.
As they continue to look at Georgetown player, they can't see exactly who that is over on the sideline. Kevin Warren with the ball cap over there, head coach for Georgetown, is.
It looks like James Riley. Yes.
It is James
Riley. He was on the other end of that Connors hit, and he has been huge for the Hoyas in terms of their face-off game. 58% heading into today. But as I mentioned earlier, too, he's good with the ball. He's not a liability when he plays offense and starts a break and get back in the hole and play D. So this is a huge development for the Hoyas.
As you see Jared Connors in the box. So we're just 21 seconds into this game, and Georgetown is going to be man up for a minute once we get started. And Kevin Warren, you can see him shaking his head, walking up the sideline here, the head coach for Georgetown. Actually, Clark, it's good to see Kevin Warren walking up and down the sideline here for Georgetown, because in pregame warmups, he got clunked in the side of the head with an errant ball that ricocheted off with a pipe.
Yeah, I was worried about him. He was above the restraining box, totally out of harm's way, which you thought he would be. But the ball just ricocheted off the pipe, one hop, and hit him right in the head.
You actually think we have video of that from before the game when they were warming up here on the field at Hofstra. Off the crossbar, and here he is, right in the right side of your screen. He goes down in a heap. Now imagine if you're one of the Georgetown players, Clark, and you see your head coach in the biggest game you've ever played in your life go down to his knees like that.
And I know Kevin Warren well. I will say one thing about him. He is tough as nails. For him to drop and for him to be in pain like that tells you a lot. 3-time Big East Coach of the Year. When he came to Georgetown, he had some tough years. People questioned the outside noise, but Georgetown, to their credit, they stuck with Kevin Warren, and wow, has it paid dividends. He's been amazing for the Hoyas, and he's a guy that just has so much energy in everything he does and loves his players. So you know this moment right here with James Riley limping and being helped by the training staff. That is a difficult scene to see on so many levels. What he means to this Georgetown team, with the character and the way that he's just been so strong and fought through many things throughout the year. Riley's been a big piece of the success.
Back underway here with Georgetown man up. And Rode making the initial save, and we got yet another flag down on the play. So Lars Tiffany's crew goes down again, another 30 seconds.
Virginia penalty number 34, John Foss, 30 seconds interference.
Wondering what he has to do to start this game. Now 2 men down. TJ Haley, number 4, comes into this game leading the country, a freshman leading the country in assists per game. Now with the ball in his cross, over to Bundy, who's an All-American midfielder, number 9. Watson. Tough angle, and there was Rode to make the stop.
Shot by number 12, Nikki Petkovic, the save by Alex Rode.
That's up to Ian Laviano, so a first chance now to see Virginia with an extended offensive possession. And trying to kill this man down situation, which they will do in 3 seconds.
You have the perimeter players. Guys like Connor and Doc Sakin with the ball right now. And Connor Schellenberger, you could argue offensively, has been the most dynamic player as a redshirt freshman. 1 in white. A conductor and quarterback of this offense. They want to give him as many touches as they can. They run him through the box at midfield, and he'll stay on the field as an attackman.
Shot and a goal! Laviano gets Virginia on the board first.
It's all about making the tough save. Across his face, Alex Rode. Ice in his veins gives this Cavalier offense an opportunity. Ian Laviano back on the island, his hometown. He gets the feed from who? The player I just mentioned, Connor Schellenberger. He is the type of quarterback that makes plays from up top, behind, and the vision and the sixth sense to feel Laviano off ball.
And now a very important matchup in this game. Carson Milburn is going to be taking faceoffs, we presume now, for Georgetown, as James Riley was injured on the initial faceoff in this game. Petey LaSala now for Virginia is the guy to keep an eye on, and can he dominate this game, or can a guy like Carson Milburn come up big? And he gets possession here for Georgetown. That gets the bench going.
Milburn comes into this game facing off at 55%. That was only his 46th face-off of the season, where James Riley took 305 heading into today. So a heavy dose of Riley throughout the course of the season. But the thing about Georgetown, they're very clean in the specialty game. They might have the best goalie in the country, Owen McElroy. They clear the ball well. They dominate 50-50 ground ball. So this is a hit they could absorb.
And they get a goal. Georgetown on the board as we had a delayed flag on the play, but Declan McDermott says, I don't need to wait for that call. I'm going to bury this ball and tie this game up.
There's so much talk about Jake Carraway and TJ Haley and Graham Bundy Jr. But at the end of the day, Declan McDermott has come to the party as of late. He had 5 goals last week against Syracuse. It's the first step in the ability to shoot on the run. 1 in blue. Down the stretch, right? Because he's getting the short stick. Bundy gets the pole every single time. He has been feasting.
Kevin Warren, good look at him. Georgetown coach, played his college lacrosse right here in this, I guess it was on this field.
Yeah.
It was a little while ago.
Had football lines back then.
For Dino, back in the day, John Danowski.
Virginia faceoff win number 23, Petey LaSala.
Loyola, in by LaSala, as Virginia gets possession. You mentioned Owen McElroy in goal for Georgetown, first team All-American, leads the country in goals against average, leads the country in save percentage. He has had a phenomenal year. Now Schellenberg. He'll look to dodge. Again, open in front. Cormier just too high.
Crease violation, though, on the Cavaliers, so Georgetown gets the ball. You're mentioning McElroy. What he's done the last season and change, because when the season ended last year, he was spectacular. And this year, I thought his play throughout the course of the year, the season ended, the regular season.
Wow. Doc Aiken shows why he thought about playing football, but we're going to get a call here. Helmet comes off of Gibby Smith. And now Matt Moore. Over to Doc Aiken. Big hit by Aiken. Schellenberg.
They're letting him play. And Gibby Smith is a tough guy, too. And Aiken went right after 17 in blue with a monster hit.
Here's Moore. This is on him, forcing him back behind the cage. Jeff Connor now inverted. A little step on the short stick, try to go back to his right. Over to Moore. Moore bounces and here's a shot.
Number 5, Matt Moore.
The ball on the end line. Virginia wins that battle. They will retain possession.
There he is, too. 3 and white, Laviano. You see him on the ride. You see him on the hustle plays. It's those little things that he does. Okay, off ball on the 6-on-6 set. But additionally, his hustle plays, unmatched.
On Timinovich, the freshman, and he scores. Schellenberger was able to get inside Will Timinovich and puts Virginia back on top. Doc
Aiken is known to be a physical Ford also was an incredible football player in high school and almost played this last year at Villanova if their season wasn't canceled for his 5th year of eligibility. That's why. And then you feed the offense in Connor Schellenberger. You're seeing his versatility on display right away. You saw him passing from the midfield, hitting Ian Laviano for the first goal. Now he takes it from behind and absolutely dances.
LaSalla and Milburn battling for it. LaSalla wins, and watch out for him. Point blank, and it hits off the upright. And twisted away, stays with Virginia. Opportunity to check out Peter Garneau, number 33, the second midfield unit for Lawrence Tiffany. Brandon Dixon involved as well, number 10, the big fellow Charlie Bertrand.
Good versatility. Garneau's a traditional north-south dodger. Bertrand is a big load to deal with on that left side, and then Dixon, who's played attack, has beautiful vision.
Ride comes, and we'll get a call on it. This one's going to go against Georgetown, so we've had a few calls actually already against Virginia. This will be the first opportunity for the Wahoos man up today.
Blue, 34, push, 30 seconds.
Georgetown penalty on number 34, Joe Lacalzi, 30 seconds for a push.
Joe Lacalzi will sit for 30 seconds. One of the 2 long stick middies that Coach Warren uses.
Yeah, Joe Lacalzi is aggressive. Leads the team and causes turnovers. Great on ground balls, and playing aggressive defense is a must when you play for Kevin Warren.
Garneau.
Just wide.
Foul by number 33, Peter Garneau.
Here's Bertrand. Back over to Garneau. Behind to Schellenberger. Georgetown back at full strength. Schellenberger got a good match with a short stick.
Foul by number 1, Connor Schellenberger.
You know, you see how they use Schellenberger different ways. The one must is he needs to be on the field every offensive possession.
Timeout on the field. 9:10 remaining in the first quarter. Our first quarterfinal game of the day. Virginia up 2-1 over Georgetown. Virginia leading here 2-1 over Georgetown. How did these two teams get here? Well, last week Jake Terry, 5 goals. Declan McDermott, 5 goals. Carter was a second half celebration for Georgetown over Syracuse.
Well, they were spinning the rock at hyperspeed and putting the Syracuse defense on their heels. The Bryant Bulldogs tested Virginia to the max. They were leading in that fourth quarter, but Virginia found a way. Their senior leadership and their goaltender, Alex Rode, down the stretch was the difference.
Alex Rode and the Virginia Cavaliers in the huddle with Lars Tiffany. Broke through in 2019 with the national championship here in his 5th season at Virginia. Virginia got behind the 8 ball a little bit in this game with 3 quick calls against them. That led to even a 2-man man-up situation for Georgetown early, but since then Virginia's been able to dial in offensively, and they've taken the lead. Garneau steps in. A lot of traffic, though. That's going to be a shot, and it's going to stay with Virginia to win. Here's Dixon. One of the better feeders on this team. Shows you why. Just couldn't hook up with Bertrand, though, as he was cutting. Garneau fires too high.
Foul by number 33, Peter Garneau.
Here's Laviano, just a pain in the neck. We'll get a call, though. This was going to go against Virginia on the ride. Georgetown will look to take advantage. Zach Geddes.
Good to see him out there. 13 in blue was nicked up in the Big East Championship game. And his status a little bit questionable in terms of could he go at 100% or close to 100%.
Now Dylan Hess, first time we've mentioned his name today. Two-way midfielder. Where's number 40 for Georgetown? He'll be on the field a lot. We'll put in some miles today. McDermott. This is Hess. Being defended by Jack Field. Now the long pole comes over. Pelogi. Shot missed, but backing up the play.
Shot by number 9, Graham Bundy Jr.
TJ Haley, freshman, nation's leader in assists with the ball right now. A true quarterback.
Going to get a call against Ian Laviano, so we finally got the dead ball. The official gives us the call that took place all the way back here on the defensive end.
Georgetown 0 for 2 on the extra man, but I was mentioning Haley, and he's the perfect complement to this man-up offense. When you have shooters like Caraway, 19 in blue, and Graham Bundy Jr., this is a unit that can really get it.
Bundy stepped into that shot, but it was picked off beautifully that time by Virginia. Jake O'Leary on the man down for the Wahoo and makes a nice play to get possession back to Virginia. Back at full strength, so Georgetown now 0 for 3 man up here in this first quarter.
Good news for the Hoyas. James Riley, the face-off specialist. See him on the sideline.
That's bad news for the Hoyas. Peyton Cormier at point-blank range. A beautiful shot, too, with his body going the other way. Finds the other side of the cage.
The interception by Jake O'Leary is incredible. He doesn't just knock it down, he catches this ball. That is ridiculous. Stops the Hoyas. They go 0 for 3 in the extra man. And then the Cavaliers, you give them too many opportunities. They are too good. Their top 6 is frightening. And Cormier finds his sweet spot when you put him about 5 to 7 yards above the crease area. With his hands free, it's night-night.
James Riley back at the face-off back. That's unbelievable, Paul, given what we thought the injury might be as we saw him on the first face-off of the game. He looked like he was done limping off the field.
I'm shocked. I mean, the way that he reacted to the hit, and you saw the training staff. To come back in this game is one thing. To come back in the first quarter.
Yeah. Well, now, P. LaSala won that draw, too, so that's something to keep an eye on, too, Clark. At some point in time, how effective James Riley is going to be with that injury, because it wasn't going to be a picnic for him anyways going against LaSala. Schellenberger, how's he getting that open in the middle of the field?
One thing about a Kevin Warren defense is predicated on sliding. There was no slide there, and when Connor Schellenberger gets to the rack and to the middle of the field, you have to support that matchup.
Our officiating crew today, Doug Donovan, Jason McGinn, Alfred Pugh, having a word with Coach Lars Tiffany over on the sideline. Virginia doubling up Georgetown in shots, 10 to 5. Schellenberger. Tried to feed it into Bertrand, knocked away, right into the cross. A little bit of a haphazard start to this game, Clark. Number one, with the injury to James Riley, so you had to think about the mindset of the Georgetown Hoyas. And then Virginia had 3 quick penalties called against them, so they were down, even 2-man down in the first minute of this game. They've been able to kill off all of those man-down situations and forge a 3-1 lead.
Oh, get through this! Are you right? Pick right, get through!
Ball picked up by Hess. Still plenty of time, 22 seconds to shoot. Hess looking to dodge. Big pop by Pelosi comes out of there.
Virginia ground ball number 16.
We talk so much about Virginia's offense, but their defense from the early stages of the season has played much better off the ball. I never questioned man for man what their defensive players could do, but off ball and supporting matchups and sliding and recovering, this is a unit that has certainly played better down the stretch.
Now Jeff Connor. Down the alley, skip pass all the way across to Doc Aiken, a little bit high, but Aiken will chase. He's checked by Dylan Hess. I mentioned 40 will stay on the field a lot. He's going to try and keep pace with Aiken. Laviano gets free.
Most of the time that's a concern, right? When you have Hess who's playing offense and then back on defense. But the coaching staff, they joke about it. They're like logging his minutes and they're watching tape the next week. Do you know Dylan Hess played 11 minutes that quarter?
More.
What
a save.
Was saved by Owen Monroe.
And we'll get a timeout by Lars Tiffany.
Timeout, Virginia.
Jeff Connor was able to chase it down and gain possession.
The NCAA thanks our corporate champions, AT&T, Capital One, and Coca-Cola, and our corporate partners.
Playing a physical game today, aren't they?
They are. They've been hearing so much this week about Georgetown and the hot team that could make a run at a national championship. Well, they're the last chance. They know how to win in May. And they're bringing grit, toughness, and a mentality that is backing down from no one.
Virginia
NCAA student athlete.
These two teams kind of mirror each other, Clark, when you think about Virginia with Lars Tiffany, kind of building up to that national championship year in 2019, and you look at what Coach Warren has done at Georgetown. He's had 2 really successful years, but wasn't able to get past that first round. You know, the loss to Hopkins, and then we did the game against Yale where they were toe-to-toe with the eventual national champs back, I think it was 2018, I think is what it was. So they've had chances. Now they've gotten to the quarterfinal round. It's almost like, hey, this might be their time. Maybe Coach Kevin Warren thinks that this is their time. This is the best team he's had over these 4 years.
Yeah, you look at the record, 13-2. When you talk to Coach Warren, his best team to date. Lars Tiffany did it in year 3, but he had a different process in terms of being able to chase a title and a trophy because he had a lot of pieces to the puzzle. Kevin Warren has built it this way, like it was a total rebuild. So Georgetown had to stay patient with him, but now when you look at the way they're built for the future, some of their best players are freshmen. Dylan Hess is a freshman. Graham Bundy Jr. is a freshman eligibility with a year back from COVID. TJ Haley leads the nation in assists. He's a freshman. I mean, they have unbelievable talent that they can build around for the next 3 years, and they're recruiting exceptionally well.
Connor now to his left. Has a lot of room. Now the slide comes. That leaves Aiken open on the backside. He'll fire righty and score.
When you look at Virginia, 2019 when they won it all, Doc Aiken was finding moments on the offensive set just like this. Catching the ball, making a quick move, and having a lot of net to shoot at. When he holds on to the ball too long and he redodges, he struggled at times. But when he can make a quick move off of ball movement, He's celebrating.
Now Milburn back in for Georgetown to take this face-off against LaSalle. You weren't with us at the very top. James Riley, the starting face-off man for Georgetown, was injured on the first face-off of the game. He came back in on the last draw, but lost it to LaSalle. LaSalle wins this one again. Can Virginia retain possession? They do, with Schellenberger give up the ground ball. 5 straight for Virginia at the face-off there.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier, too, Riley's back, but how effective can he be? Like, using him might not be the call, right? You're not going to get the full James Riley, most likely. And Petey LaSalle is the type of face-off specialist that when he gets on a roll, like, watch out. And you also have to take care of him in terms of the transition game, right? Like, you've got to let him have those moments, too, because when he wins, he is a big-time offensive threat for the Cavaliers.
Charlie Bertrand, a big-time scorer at Merrimack, transferred in before the start of this season. Championship experience himself, with a couple with Merrimack at the Division II level. Schellenberger now on the short stick as he looks to attack from that midfield spot. Moore with 8 to shoot, loses his footing. He's going to have to make something happen quickly. Tried to get it to Bertrand. He shovels the shot.
Number 41, Charlie Bertrand.
He paid the shot clock violation. A pretty good look on that scramble.
Bertrand's a load to deal with. So you get the shot clock violation, but now you allow Virginia to set up in their ride, right? So watch the Cavaliers. They are so aggressive. Once they decide to make a jump here, you will see this team collapse.
Kevin Warren makes his substitution. NCAA men's lacrosse coverage continues next weekend with the semifinal and championship games. Action begins Saturday the 29th at noon Eastern on ESPN2. For more information on the 2021 NCAA men's lacrosse championship, visit ncaa.org, your home for all 90 NCAA championships.
1 minute remaining in the first quarter.
Been all Virginia here after the first couple of minutes of this game, Clark. Caraway trying to change all that. Gets the defender to lose his footing. What an unbelievable pass. Unfortunately, they couldn't quite hook up. Nicky Petkovic was on the far post.
That's the underrated aspect of his game. Everyone knows him as a stretch shooter. But that was an amazing pass through the heart of the defense of Virginia.
And that's the opposite right there. He tried to skip past. And unfortunately, it's the 4th turnover of this game for Georgetown.
Well, he's a big-time righty. Okay, the first pass that was right on the money was with the right hand. There he used his offhand. Not as slick when he has to go to the left.
Final 30 seconds of this first quarter. Virginia can hold for the final shot if they choose to do so. It looks like that's what Matt Moore and company are going to try to do. Moore, though, finds Laviano. Now he spins and just too tough of an angle to put it on Cage. Connor wins the battle of the end line, but just 6 seconds now for Virginia. Connor's going to have to move quickly and take a shot. McElroy is there, saw it all the way, and the horn sounds to end what was an eventful first quarter here in Hempstead.
Georgetown 1.
Georgetown didn't get a single shot off in the final 7 minutes and 13 seconds of that first quarter. Virginia really asserting themselves. The Wahoos, reigning national champs, lead here in game 1 of our quarterfinal action today, 4-1 over Georgetown after 1.
The Detroit National Championship at the 2021 NCAA Men's Lacrosse Championship in East Hartford. The NCAA
4-1 Virginia over Georgetown as we get set to start the second quarter. Look at the face-off men for Georgetown. That's become a story in this game. James Riley, opening face-off, got hurt on this play.
Yeah, you see Jared Connors getting super aggressive. He's helped up by the training staff. I thought there was no shot 33 in blue would come back. He's been back in the game. He's taken one face-off and he's lost. So Carson Milburn has had to take the majority of the faces since, and then he's nicked up again. So this is a huge story for the Hoyas.
Georgetown, we mentioned the man-up opportunities they had early, including that hit of Jared Connors. He had to sit for a minute, and they were actually 2 men up during that time frame and couldn't convert early. And since then, it's been all Virginia.
Well, you look at Riley, and he's been a big-time face-off man for the Hoyas, 58% coming into the game. If he's out, 2 things need to happen. You have to cash in on man-up, and your goalie, Owen McElroy, has to come to play.
LaSalle has come to play here. The shovel and scores! You said it earlier. He is so dangerous on his own after a face-off win, and he buries it.
I said earlier, take care of him in transition. And what I mean by that is, if you are the coaching staff for Virginia, let him go. Unleash 23 and white, because when he wins the draw, low center of gravity can soak jets, and a little creativity to boot. Petey LaSalle.
5-1 Virginia here early in the second quarter. They've won 6 faceoffs now, make it 7 in a row. They've got 5 different goal scorers, and they've really got the Hoyas on their heels right now.
Petey's feeling it. Got some pep in his step. You see the little strides he's taking when he's winning the draw. He's feeling it, man. He's had some tough prior performances. I mean, leading up to the last regular season game of the season, you could argue that he was maybe the best face-off guy in the country. Then he struggled against Syracuse in the last game and against Bryan as well in the first round. So he has responded.
Moore putting his shoulder into the defender. Now the sneak pass into Schellenberger, who picks up the ground ball. Connor. Underneath the defender. Nice job by Will Godin. Schellenberger does, though, and he scores!
So smooth. So skilled. So savvy. Is 1 and white. Head's always up, looking to make a play, getting a teammate involved, and if you don't slide to him, he is just as effective as a goal scorer and passer. You see the plant foot getting the defender to bite, which just creates so much real estate up that left side with his hands free and no contact by the Georgetown defense as he approaches goal line extended. That's too easy.
2 goals in just over a minute time for Virginia. Schellenberger with 2 and 1 on the day already. Battle in the middle of the field, won by Milburn.
Ball number 29, Carson Milburn.
That may be the MO for Georgetown at the faceoff dot the rest of the way, right? Just try and not necessarily win initially, but try and win possession.
But also see if Milburn can get into a little bit of a groove. And you saw James Riley, he was injured, he tried to come back, he just doesn't look right. So if you give Milburn an opportunity to kind of scrap it out, get your wings involved, but Virginia has some wings that can counter.
Yes, now behind the cage. Yes, just trying to power his way in. That's not going to work, but he did draw a flag. Sawstead came over to help on defense. Let's check the call.
Looks like they'll get him with a hold for 30 seconds. But this is big as we hear the officials with the call.
White 32, the hold, 30 seconds.
Georgetown has to figure a way to get their extra man offense clicking. Because you're staring at a big task at the dot against Petey LaSalle, who's in a complete groove. They have the shooters, they have the ball movement to really make it happen. And TJ Haley's the quarterback who can pass as well as anyone behind the cage.
He's at X right now, number 4, up top to Watson. Now to skip the goal line extended, tough angle though, back behind. Haley. Just 6 seconds on the man up now. Watson again.
Team
Took the shot. It was deflected. It will stay with Georgetown. But no, now it's saying it won't stay with Georgetown.
Looked like Merle, 7 and white, as he came out of the box, right? The penalty was expired. He comes out of the box. He's closest to the ball when it goes out of bounds on a shot. Virginia gets it.
Just fortunate. All the breaks are going Virginia's way so far today. And they kill off yet another man-down situation here in this first half. 6-1 Wahoo's on top. Peter Garno slowing things down now for Virginia as both coaches complete their substitution pattern. Moore on Donaldson. Here's Garno. Moore has room. McElroy is there, though. Stolen by Xander Dixon, and he scores! What a heads-up play by Dixon, and what a big mistake by Owen McElroy, and something you wouldn't expect from the veteran.
You wouldn't. Very uncharacteristic of Owen McElroy. Not only makes huge stops, but is clean in the clearing game. But when it rains, it pours. You make the stop, right? You have that showdown with the big-time shooter of Virginia. Try to get the clearing game going. That's twice now. Virginia has cleanly picked off passes that really you have no business doing, right?
Just ends up in your stick, and when it's going well for you, it's going well. And that's what's going well right now for Virginia. Everything, including the face-off X right now, without James Riley, who gallantly tried to come back after getting injured on the first face-off of the game. It's been all about Carson Milburn for Georgetown, and LaSalle has owned the face-off X, and they get another possession here.
Yeah, Milburn actually won that draw, but didn't win the possession. You see the series of unfortunate events here for Georgetown. I mean,
yeah.
it's crazy when you think about how the ball just is not bouncing their way. And Virginia's capitalizing. Credit to Virginia, just coming out with a ton of juice and energy. Because I don't think anyone thought, with 11 minutes left in the second quarter, that UVA would be up 7-1.
You talk about all the freshman contributors for Georgetown, and then we also talk about how so many of these players for Virginia were there when they won the national title in 2019. Is that having an impact on it right now?
It's hard to say, because honestly, sometimes youth can favor you, right? Because you don't even realize the moment you're in.
You don't know any better.
You don't know any better. So experience certainly never hurts. And Virginia has a ton of it.
Plenty of it here with number 5. Although that's a terrible pass to Schellenberger, and it ends up being a turnover. Georgetown handle this ride for Virginia that is relentless, and then put something together 6-on-6. They have until the 60-second mark to get the ball across midfield. Long pass, and this is going to be an opportunity for Georgetown, and Rode is there, though.
Rode is there, and the hustle by Virginia. Chased down that shot. I thought Caraway probably had room for another step or two to look at more of the net. And Rode, who's playing that pipe, just dominating the angles in regards to shutting down the shooters of Georgetown.
He had a feeling Caraway needed that goal. He needs something to get him going in this game.
Yeah, he's like the lifeline of this Georgetown team. We talk about all those young guys, but Caraway is the leader, like a fifth-year guy. And he plays with so much emotion. When he scores, the bench erupts. He celebrates different than the rest of the guys. Like, a goal from Caraway is big time.
Schellenberger will get you a goal and then some. That's the hat trick for him in the first half.
The 3 goals and the 1 assist. If you were to turn on the tape after and watch what One and White is doing, there's no patterns in his game. He's playing from up top. He's playing from behind. He's dodging and shooting on the run. I've seen him spray it from the outside. You saw him break a defender down with a quick step from behind in his prior goal, and now He is the player that Georgetown just does not have the answer for. They do not have the guy right now that can guard him. He's the best player on the field right now, hands down.
Gable Braun taking the draw for Virginia as LaSalle gets a break. Physical ground ball. Cody comes out there with it for Georgetown.
You know, the problem with Schellenberger, too, Chris, is if you send the house and slide, he's the best passer on Virginia, too. So, like, it's not as easy, like, oh, support this matchup and slide to Schellenberger. Well, if you slide to him, you saw what he did when he passed it to Ian Laviano, right? He can get teammates involved, and they can feast.
Now McDermott. Didn't have a great angle behind the cage. Haley lost it. Sawstead giving chase. He wasn't able to save it. He'll stay with Georgetown. Just not sharp, though, offensively. McDermott on Soliday. To Haley. Remember, leads the country in assists per game. Number 4 for Georgetown.
You got to play him as a passer. He has 18 shots on the season only. 18 shots.
McDermott. Got a step. Georgetown keeps possession, though, with 15 to shoot.
To put that in perspective, last week we had Bryant's Mark O'Rourke. He had 24 shots in a game. TJ Haley, 18 on the season.
Haley is the distributor. Now from X. Koloji comes over. Just perfect timing. Perfect timing on that slide. Double them up, and it ends up being a turnover. That's 8 turnovers here already in the first half. We're still just about the midway point of this second quarter.
8 turnovers, dominated at the face-off dot. This is tough sailing for this Georgetown team. A team that you could argue, and this was my belief, that had the pieces coming into quarterfinal weekend to win a national championship. Not just be competitive in this round, but actually win it all.
Now Moore gets a good matchup. Wants to get to his right.
Shot by number 5, Matt Moore.
When you watch Matt Moore, 5 in white, and Caraway, 19 in blue on the other end, those are excellent offensive players, but they want to go back to the right, where this guy goes both ways. Behind the cage, above goal line extended, which makes him just such a tough cover.
Aiken. Physical presence makes him a tough cover, but shot sails high. 22 to shoot for Virginia. The defenders switch it. Minovich switched over onto Connor. Now he's on Moore. The 2-man game behind the cage for Virginia. Only 5 to shoot, so Connor's going to have to let it go. He does. McElroy is there. But Virginia gets the rebound. Schellenberger, McElroy, another save.
Shot by number 1, Connor Schellenberger, and number 4, Jeff Connor.
5 saves for McElroy on the day, and a nice defensive stop for Georgetown. Let's see if they can use some of that juice here on the offensive end. Here's Dylan Hess. Over to Nicky Pekovic, 4-year starter at Colgate before transferring to Georgetown in the offseason. He's played attack and midfield for them, quality player.
This is a midfield with Pekovic and Bundy and Hess. All 3 midfielders have the green light. You just attack one of the 2 shorties.
Koloji just is there, though. Just when it looks like Georgetown is going to get an opportunity, Virginia's defense closes in. And they get the ball back. How many times have we mentioned Koloji's name in this first half already for Virginia?
Well, he's been roaming, too, right? He's playing almost like a free safety, timing his slide.
Thought that might be a trip. Doesn't get a flag, though. Virginia's having a hard time getting it across the midfield stripe, but they have just 3 seconds to do it if you turn over.
Georgetown grab ball number 34, Joe Kelsey.
Good play by Lacrosse. He likes to roam in the middle of the field, too. It's kind of like Jared Connors, right? You got to watch where 34 in blue is. He'll hunt you down.
What Bundy was looking for Watson. Just couldn't quite connect. Watson just not opening up in the middle of the field. Now McDermott. Over to Hess on the side, back behind to Haley. Here's Bundy. Got his left free. Just missed the target.
That's what you want. You want aggressive play from your middies. You know, Bundy's the type of scorer that can really stretch a defense. I mean, coming into the game, 36 goals from the midfield.
Most goals by a midfielder in the country coming into this game, but he wasn't able to connect there. And it has been slow going for Georgetown offensively today. All Virginia, 8-1. 4:47 mark of this second quarter. To 1, 4:47 left to go in this first half. Virginia on top of Georgetown. Let's take a look at our brackets. This is the first of 4 games this weekend in quarterfinal action. Later on this afternoon, right here in Hempstead, we'll have North Carolina and Rutgers. Boy, you know that one's going to be fireworks up and down the field in that one. Then tomorrow, Venetian Q going to be in South Bend. Maryland, Notre Dame, which has a finals game feel to it. And it's at South Bend, and then Duke and Loyola.
Yeah, don't sleep on Charlie Toomey and that staff with Matt Swan running the defense and Mark Van Arsdale running the offense. They've played in huge games in the month of May. Greyhounds won a championship in 2012. But the next game, Rutgers NASCAR offense. Carolinas doesn't have a nickname, but I'll call it hyperspeed, man. You can get dizzy watching how fast the ball moves on offense.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun game to watch. Clark and I will be here for that one. Final 4:39 left of this first half. Georgetown's got to get something going, as you saw. It's been all Connor Schellenberger. And the defense for Virginia, as McDermott really just haven't been able to get a lot of great scoring opportunities. They haven't really tested road here in this first half.
Deflections, missed ground balls, and that end. Nothing is going the way of the Hoyas.
All that can change, though, quickly in this game if you've watched lacrosse over the years. But certainly a goal here would be a big help as they're trying to get something going momentum-wise. Watson tries behind the back. There's not a lot on that shot either, and it's off target. Over 20 minutes without a goal for Georgetown in this game, and it's going to be longer as the shot clock is going to wind down, and they're going to hopefully set up a ride here.
20-minute scoring drought, 0 for their last 7 shooting. Can't get into a groove defensively. They haven't had the answer for Connor Schellenberger, who's just been unguardable in this first half.
Bertrand clears it on his own to Garno.
And the tough thing when you're defending Schellenberger is it's hard to find like flow in terms of your defense because you don't know where he's going to be. They'll run him out of the box at midfield. They're playing behind where he is right now. So it's hard for a defender to get into a flow or a groove defending one and white.
Second midfield unit on there now, so Schellenberger's playing attack. There's Dixon, scored a goal earlier. Beautiful ride, Garno. Trails one over the top.
Shot by number 33,
as well.
This is Lacrosse, right, who's played some up top for the Hoyas. Now he's behind against Schellenberger, who's been the ultimate quarterback. I think Virginia was on a crease violation when they were preparing to set that pick. Xander Dixon, 10 and white, was in the crease.
So now Laviano. Well, I likened to Pat Verbeek. Hockey fans out there, remember Pat Verbeek when he played for the Whalers? His nickname was the Little Ball of Hate. That's what Laviano's style of play is.
He's perfect for this team. I mean, you look around him, they have all these like big-time playmakers and guys who could dodge and shoot from the outside, and with these monster recruits, he's like the perfect piece of the puzzle, though, right? He's an inside guy on offense, rides like a banshee.
Haley again will look to make something happen. And he's met by Chris Merle. Caraway. Declan McDermott. Down the alley. Pelogi again. And it's going to be another turnover. 16 is having himself a heck of a game. Long pass to Jack Peel.
Left side of your screen here. Pelogi, you mentioned it, Chris. He's been all over the field. Really just timing his checks and understanding the opposition in terms of their patterns.
Taken to the middle of the field. Going back to his right. Over to Matt Moore. Matt Moore will look to dodge. Got the shorty on him, so it's an advantage for Moore. This is the target. Schellenberger will put it into play. 22 to shoot for Virginia. 26 to 10, the shot disparity for Virginia in this game. They have dominated. Moore will add to that, but he misses.
Shot by number 5, Matt Moore.
Still 12 to shoot for Schellenberger and company. Final minute of this first half. Donaldson on Schellenberger.
1 minute remaining.
Gets inside the defender and scores. That's a beautiful play from start to finish, Clark.
Again. Wow. Jaw-dropping play by the redshirt freshman. The maturity, the offensive awareness in the field. You saw him make a similar move up the left side earlier in this quarter. Now he does it to the right, and they send the help, and he just spins right through it, right? So if you remember earlier stages of the second quarter, he makes that same move up the left side. There's no slide. This time it's up the right side of the field. They come and support the matchup, and he just inside rolls and just feels the pressure of the Georgetown defense. He has been amazing.
Watch LaSalle here. Cormier just couldn't handle the pass. Now he picks up the loose ball. Soliday, the D-midi on the field for one of the rings on the faceoff, still on the field for Virginia, so we'll look to get it in the hands of Moore here with still 30 seconds, plenty of time in this first half.
Lacrosse is a game of runs, and when you have momentum, stopping the ball and winning faceoff, you feel like you can make a run. Georgetown has not had that today.
Trouble, Schellenberger, he's unstoppable.
Honestly, I don't even have the words anymore. It's not just that he's putting up huge numbers today. It's the way he's doing it. Every single goal or every single assist is different. I mean, he has been amazing. This time he feels McElroy cheating off the pipe, right? Look where he puts that ball. Like the instincts of Schellenberger, to me, to make quick decisions. The prior goals that roll and feeling the pressure, spinning out of trouble. This time, it's a goalie who's baiting him and cheating off the pipe, and then he beats him near pipe. This is ridiculous.
Final shot on goal. And Rode is able to make the save as the horn sounds to end what was a dominating first half for the Virginia Cavaliers.
Virginia 10, Georgetown 1.
Clark and I got a full halftime report coming your way still, so don't go anywhere. We'll preview the Rutgers, North Carolina game and the other two games tomorrow in the quarterfinals. Plus, we'll take a look at the Tewaaraton finalists, all 5 that we are seeing this weekend in the quarterfinal games. The Cavaliers, reigning national champs, like they've been here before. 10-1 over Georgetown at the half. Here at Hempstead, New York, out on Long Island, 10-1 our score. Virginia on top of Georgetown as we get set to start the second half. Quarterfinal action, first of 4 games this weekend. Alongside Paul Carcaterra, I'm Chris Cotter. Carc, that was a complete domination by Virginia in the first half, wasn't it?
The Cavaliers brought the juice. I just thought their middle of the field type aggressive play just dominated the first half in terms of the story. And that just led to multiple opportunities in the middle of the field. And quite frankly, like Georgetown, it appears, just hasn't been ready for this moment. And the Cavaliers, in their experience, they're the last national championship team. It showed it in the first half.
Georgetown loses their starting face-off man. First face-off game of the game, James Riley, and then the physical play picked up for Virginia.
Yeah, let's give the defense some props, like Pelosi and Petey LaSalla. Talk about responding after 2 subpar outings against Syracuse and Bryant. He's been outstanding. The ball just bounced away that the Cavaliers wanted it to do. And then at the end of the day, they just have the best player on the field. That simple. Connor Schellenberger has done it with vision and getting teammates involved like Ian Laviano with spectacular passing. And he's also done it on his own. If you look at the instinct and understanding where defensive pressure is coming from, he can slice and dice with speed, uses inside rolls, gets to the middle of the field. The question is, what can number 1 in white do? And the answer is simple: nothing.
Career high 5 goals for Connor Schellenberger already. And you know, you tip of the cap to him because Lars Tiffany told us before our game last week, Clark, you know, he runs him out of the box. You know, Schellenberger will play anywhere he wants. He's a mature enough guy that whatever the team needs, he'll do, and he's done it all today.
Well, look, if you want to list him as a midfielder, where traditionally where he starts the game, I mean, how can you not think of him as a first-team All-American with those types of numbers? Now, he plays a bunch of attack, and he plays in the areas of an attackman, but he's the best player on this team right now. And throughout the course of the season, his versatility and his unselfishness not to be on the field like for a full 60 minutes is kind of defining the way that this offense is evolving.
Starting the second half, Carson Milburn taking the face-off for Georgetown. Starter James Riley was injured on the very first face-off of the game, and it's been Milburn and all but one of them since. Riley tried to come back, just too injured to do it, so keep an eye on that. Laviano, too hot.
Number 3, Ian Laviano.
If you're Kevin Warren, what do you do at halftime? When you're down 10-1, how do you try and sort this thing out?
Well, I think the first thing is you have to play the face-off game from the angle of just tying LaSalla up as much as possible, just to give some hope for the wing play to be a factor, right? Because LaSalla, when he dominates the draw, this high-octane offense is too much to deal with right now for this Georgetown defense.
Can we get a pole goal? That'll help, and it will. Well, Gibson Smith, one of the team captains of this team, right on target and right on the money. And Owen McElroy made a great save on the other end, and it led to transition on this end.
Yeah, when you're not doing well at the dot, find ways, right? Well, it starts with getting possessions off of saves. McElroy stands his ground, quick offense for the Hoyas, and then Gibson Smith, who is a tough grinder of a defender, this time shoots the rock. Gibson Smith from Pelham, New York, a hockey player growing up, a scrapper.
Like his coach, Kevin Warren. And LaSalla brings it back to himself.
Virginia baseball point number 23, Petey LaSalla.
Find a way, right? Manufacture some offense from uncharacteristic areas, too. I mean, Gibson Smith had 1 goal on the season, right? He's not the type of guy that roams the middle of the field like a Jared Connors. but it's a momentum type of goal, right? Just build off of that when your leader can hit the back of the net.
And yet on the ensuing face-off, LaSalle wins another one, and Virginia slows it down with the 8-goal lead. Dixon. That's a spot right there from X as a feeder. Upfield to Garno up top. There's Bertrand. Yeah, think about Lars Tiffany, too. Not in their DNA to slow things down. Up 10-2, how do you want to change the way you go about business? How about that?
Right? Foot on the gas. Don't hesitate. Make it a statement that this team is going to approach the second half with eyes on another championship weekend. And Bertrand, earlier in the game I mentioned, I just love, he's the change of pace guy, right? When he runs with Garno, traditional north-south type of dodgy midi. Dixon is a feeder. This guy is a bull.
Now facing off for Georgetown, number 44, Alex.
Two-time D2 Player of the Year at Merrimack, where he won 2 national titles, transferred in, and immediately gives Lars Tiffany a physical presence in that second midfield unit. Complement all the other pieces, including number 23, who continues to dominate the face-off there. And the officials initially missed an offside, and then they saw it. Yep. With help from the Virginia bench.
Yeah, Coach Tiffany pumped.
So it'll be a man-up opportunity for Virginia unless they score a goal here before a stoppage.
Free play. This isn't fair. I mean, he's got a short stick on him, Schellenberger. There's not a defender on the field with a 6-foot pole that can stop him. So they're going to slide to him, but he's also the best passer on the Virginia team. So pick your poison here if you're the Hoyas when you defend one in white.
Yeah, Will goes Dean on him, and this is Schellenberger, too, killing a little bit of that clock. Why not? You're going to get a man-up situation as soon as you get a stoppage, so why not wait for that stoppage? Moore in front. That's a shot deflected. Doc Aiken picks it back up. Now Aiken will shoot high and get the ball here.
Offside resulted in too many men on the defensive side of the field for the Hoyas. They had 7 against Virginia 6.
30 seconds. Offside, 30 seconds.
Georgetown penalty, offside, 30 seconds, served by number 10, Will Godin.
So a man up now for Virginia, leading by 9. Here's Moore. Fabiano inside. Defense comes quickly to meet him. Garno now trying to go over the top to Bertrand. He's a big guy, but he ain't that big.
Virginia can double the ball. They're still in their man-up frame.
2 minutes, 4 seconds. Georgetown trying to kill off the remainder of this penalty and also clear the ball. Never an easy task against Virginia. They get it done here. Gavin Lindsay. And now Haley. He has not been able to get on track today. Neither has 19 Caraway. Here's Caraway with the ball in his cross. Now up top. Caraway with 1 shot, 3 turnovers in that first half. It's a Wharton finalist. They need a lot more from him.
You see Virginia really playing him as a heavy shooter, and they're pressing out. I wouldn't say cheating, but like shading him a little bit. So when he catches the ball, there's a defender on him right away. They're playing their defense where they're going to get some help from other guys that aren't guarding Caraway, and As much as they're playing him as a shooter, they're playing T.J. Haley as a straight passer, like daring him to go to the rack.
And there you saw Sawstead on Caraway, and it ends up being a bad pass by Caraway and a turnover. Here comes Connors. He isn't afraid to shoot. Dishes it off, and a goal by Laviano.
Jared Connors. He isn't afraid to shoot. 8 goals coming into today. But he also has 6 assists. So as much as he isn't afraid to shoot, he isn't afraid to pass and continue to create havoc in the middle of the field. For my money, this is why he was such a high draft pick in the PLL, because he can make plays in the middle of the field. You know what he does in terms of just stalking the opposition as a defender, but what he does in the transition game for the Cavaliers, it's such a big part of their identity.
There you see Laviano, what he's been able to do. Yet another 20-goal season for Ian Laviano.
Yeah, we talk about Laviano and being a piece of the puzzle, but look at that championship run. The 50-goal mark is like, that's greatness, right? Like when you can score 50 in a season, that tells you you are just an absolute lethal goal scorer. The number's down, but what he does with his offense, what he does in the hustle game for the Cavaliers, like they have to keep him on the field. They don't have a choice.
Which is really why, you know, it precipitates putting number 1 running out of the box, right? Because you got to have Laviano out there. Cormier is that big, you know, Canadian inside shooter kind of guy, and then Matt Moore. You got to find a way to get number 1 involved so you run him out of the box.
Yeah, you have options. If you don't run him through the box, if you want to start him at attack, then you put Matt Moore in his spot running out of the box as a midfielder. And Moore's played a ton of midfield. I mean, that's what he was recruited as. That's what he played his freshman season for the Cavaliers. So he's totally comfortable doing the same thing that Schellenberger does. So these guys are interchangeable.
And this second midfield unit has got a lot of run today with Garneau, Dixon, and Bertrand.
Dixon with the ball. You want to play him almost like T.J. Haley from Georgetown. Like, dare them to be a goal scorer who dodges and plays with some physicality. That's what Haley's struggling with today. He's not turning the corner. He's a pass-first guy, and he's been that way all season long. But Virginia has kind of magnified that issue.
Here's Moore. McElroy stops it. Dixon Smith with the ground ball. There's Laviano. He goes from one side of the field to the other in like a flash. Can Georgetown get a quick one in transition? It's really been one of the few areas offensively that worked for him at times today, and now they'll slow it down and go 6-on-6, which has completely not worked for him at all. Here's Bundy.
Shot by number 9.
I give credit to Bundy there, though. He comes out of the box. He's their goal scorer from up top all season long. He has Connors guarding him, and he ran right at him.
This is McDermott. Up top to Bundy. Now over to Caraway. Haley, will he shoot? He will. Off target.
That's what they need. They need Haley to turn the corner.
He doesn't do it that often, as you said in the first half. That's only his 19th shot of the year. Caraway had a lot on now when the road saw.
Shot by number 9, Caraway, to save by
4 saves for Road. just 4 saves for Rode. He just hasn't been tested that much today.
Not at all. But you saw his hand speed, though. And in the first half, you saw him make a similar save where quick across his face.
Cormier. Heard that way, hit McElroy. He's in trouble.
Smart push by McElroy, though, because otherwise you're out of the cage and Virginia can capitalize.
Got to get back in a hurry.
Yep.
Laviano looked to attack. Now it seems he doesn't have the numbers, and he'll wait for his troops, including number 1 Connor Schellenberger, who's had a ridiculous game, 5 goals and an assist already, all in the first half. Virginia up 10 goals. They're in no hurry. And Georgetown just sitting back, allowing that clock to tick down. Now 35 seconds to shoot for Virginia. 80 seconds on every possession.
You're down 12-2. Go chase it, right? Go chase it.
Now Schellenberger will look to make a move. And he scores. Well, that's exactly what Virginia wants to do, right? Just burn 60 seconds off the clock, put it in one's cross, and let him finish.
Burn it, burn it, burn it. And then make it rain. Schellenberger is seeing this game in slow motion, right? Oh, you're going to let me kind of kill the clock? Well, guess what? Here's number 6. Number 1 has been on fire.
(13-2) our score. Virginia on top of Georgetown in the first of 2 quarterfinal games today. Jake Carraway's the Spartan finalist. He has not had a great day.
Yeah, he comes to the island and Virginia gives him the bagels. 0 goals, 0 assists. But you look at how quickly Virginia supports the matchup. They're daring Carraway to be a passer, right? There's always one and then one helping. They do not want him to have his hands free ever. Contesting shots, and they're known, okay, known to answer the bell when the lacrosse world kind of just says, Virginia coming into this game, right? Georgetown's a hot team. If you saw John Fox when he soaked that one and he contested Carraway, you saw the frustration from Carraway, who's had an amazing career.
Lasala. That's just to your point earlier. Lasala is not afraid to stand over there on the wing, even after winning the draw, and wait for a pass. And he got one from Dixon, just couldn't bury it.
Well, when you look back to Petey Lasala, that game was established on the island as a high school midfielder, right? He didn't come off the field after face-offs. Like, he was never one of those guys that, from a specialty perspective, that ran off the field. Like, he was not a fogo, he was a foso, right? Face-off, stay on.
Saw the formula in the last possession for Lars Tiffany. Run as much of that clock as you can before starting the offense. And this time it's Charlie Bertrand who will generate it from the wing. All the way here towards the end line. Goal line extended. Now he charges to the middle of the field. Garno. Still 20 to shoot for Schellenberg. He looks back at the shot clock and says, I got my defender hung up again. I'll just hang out here for a little while.
Hang me up.
Now the slide comes, so someone's got to be open, and it's Moore wide open. He's just too far, taking too much time for Moore.
And that's okay. I mean, you want to get the backup 9 times out of 10, but you didn't hit the cage. The shot clock was winding down. That's actually a good turnover in terms of setting up your ride if you're Virginia.
Here comes Gibson Smith. Already has a goal earlier in this game. Keep an eye on Matt Moore, too, on the sideline. Number 5 for Virginia. He got popped when he took that shot. Came off a little gingerly, although he was still able to take the ride. Now Coach Tiffany says, get back in there. He's see him now he might be substituted for it. Keep an eye on that.
Still good? Okay, come.
Watson on the road hasn't been tested much.
Number 45
when he has been.
Dylan Watson, sent by Alex Wolf.
You mentioned the physicality of Georgetown and hitting more. That's one thing, like, regardless of what the score is, if you know Kevin Warren, his team will never quit. Like, they are going to play physical till the last whistle of this game. It's in his DNA. It's always been his DNA.
Tuning in late to this game, too. Opening faceoff. James Riley, Georgetown's faceoff guy, was injured on the opening faceoff, and it just set the tone for the entire first half that was dominated by Virginia. Now, James Riley came back and took a faceoff, but he just wasn't close enough to 100%, Paul, to continue. So we've seen Carson Milburn, who's done yeoman's work at the faceoff X, but he's going against an All-American in Petey LaSala, and they've owned that part of the game. And this guy right here, number 1 with the ball in his cross, has just been sensational.
Yeah, he's been at another level. But props to Virginia's D, too, because Georgetown came in scoring more than 13 goals a game, right? And look at the scoreboard right now. This Virginia defense that oftentimes doesn't get the respect. And you know what? Rightfully so. There are times they don't show up, right, off the ball in the early stages of the season. But down the stretch in 2019 when they won a title, their defense was the biggest improvement in terms of their team. And now you look at this moment, 2 years later, they're stepping up.
There's a lot of guys on that road unit, too, defensively for them. And John Fox is back, one of the captains of this team, along with Jared Connors.
Count by number 11, Peter
Thompson, the lefty, let that one rip.
Yeah, that 2019 team, and you hear the names today. Well, a lot of the same characters. Moore, Laviano.
Virginia penalty at number 3 in Laviano. 30 seconds delay of game.
Yeah, I was mentioning those characters, and he's one of them, Laviano, who's in the box right now. Laviano, Moore, Aiken, Connors, Fox, Rode. Like, that's the foundation.
Yeah. Good passing for Georgetown, and that's just the way it has gone for them. Rode tracked it down. You saw the frustration from Caraway. 15 turnovers against Georgetown today. Fox getting it to Schellenberger just as the clock runs down on this man down. So back to
1 minute remaining in the third quarter.
And everything going Virginia's way, right? Dox is getting bombarded, throws off his back foot. Perfect pass, right? It's the opposite for Georgetown. Coach Simmons, who coached me at Syracuse, used to always say when things weren't going well for us, when it rains, it pours, right? And that's been the case for Georgetown.
It really has today. Kevin Warren just has not been able to find a solution. And his offensive stars, Jake Caraway, TJ Haley, have just not been able to get anything going on this 6-on-6. Final minute of this third quarter. Georgetown just 2 of 18 shooting on the day, Clark. Here comes Moore. Now his defender hung up. Now comes upfield and scores.
Look at that celebration. Matt Moore. Said it earlier, not known to have a big-time left hand, right? And chops the field in 2 ways like Connor Schellenberger does. He's a righty, but if you're going to drive lefty, you got a backhand like that. 5 in white feels it. The Cavalier bench explodes. And when it's all said and done, because he's coming back for a 5th year next year, he will be at the top of the all-time greats at the University of Virginia from a scoring standpoint. And he's got a national title in his pocket, and he's going for another one.
think about that attack line as the horn sounds to end the third quarter. Moore, Cormier, and Schellenberger back next year for Lars Tiffany. Going to be deadly, as it has been today. 14-2. Virginia over Georgetown. It has been all Cavaliers, and they are serving notice to the rest of the lacrosse world. We are the reigning national champs, and we aren't going to give it up easily.
NCAA Championship celebrates the student athlete advisory committee unanimously won campaign. Student athlete representative.
Back at James M. Stewart Stadium here in Hempstead, New York. Start of the fourth quarter. Quarterfinal game number 1 on the weekend. Chris Cotter and Paul Carcaterra with you. 14-2. Our score, Virginia on top. It has been all Cavaliers. NCAA men's lacrosse coverage. It continues next weekend for the semifinal and championship game. Action begins at noon on the 29th. That's Saturday on ESPN2. For more information on the 2021 Men's Lacrosse Championship, visit ncaa.com. We're home for all 90 championships. Take a look at what we've got on tap after this one. North Carolina Rutgers, about a half hour after this game ends right here in Hempstead. And then tomorrow, Hugh and Anish, they're up in South Bend. Maryland and Notre Dame, a home game for the Irish, and Loyola and Duke. That Maryland game is going to be ridiculous. Not that our game this afternoon might not be ridiculous, too. It could be like 18-16 kind of a game. Although, Rutgers play defense.
Ground ball number 32, Grayson Soliday.
Schellenberger, can he get 7? Way too high.
Shot by number 1, Connor Schellenberger.
7, that's the most in Virginia history in a playoff game. Doug Knight, 1995 against Brown. Schellenberger, 1 shot, 1 goal away.
Knight used to give you nightmares.
Oh, don't get me started about that guy. I mean,
Blue 17, unnecessary roughness, 1 minute. 17, unnecessary roughness.
When Doug Knight came off the bus, he was very unassuming. You looked at him, you're like, what's this guy going to do? What's this guy going to do? I mean, in a regular season game, we went down to Virginia. I remember Doug Knight scoring 8 against us. It didn't matter who was covering him. With Knight and Watson and Whiteley, that attack, 95, 96, and Whiteley graduated in 96. Watson and Knight, 97. It was just, it was a beautiful blend, too. You had Whiteley, the feeder, Knight, the lefty slasher. Watson was a magician with his stick with the right hand. And actually, Chris Gray, who's in the next game, reminds me a lot of Michael Watson, who's a Hall of Famer.
Virginia and Syracuse, Carth, your alma mater. You guys had great teams in the 90s, great matchups, great battles. That, of course, before Syracuse joined the ACC. Garneau up top. Man up for Virginia. Laviano, quick passing, and Cormier just couldn't finish.
You know, you mentioned the ACC, too. It's amazing what a week's difference in the tone and what people are saying, right? Like, last week after Georgetown blew out Syracuse, oh, the ACC's maybe overrated. I don't know about that.
Well, certainly this week when you've got Virginia doing what they're doing right now. Cormier, what a great catch just to keep possession for Virginia. And I guess they're going to get him on a ward, it looks like. Get a turnover back to Georgetown. Bundy knocked off his feet by Connors.
Virginia ground ball number 49.
Now on his horse for Virginia. It's going to be a tough fourth quarter for Georgetown.
Oh, yeah.
And the heat, it's searing hot here, by the way. It's like 90 degrees in Hempstead today. That sun buffeting off of the turf down there. It's been a hard game already. It's been a physical game, and they're down 12.
You know, Graham Bundy's had a tough day, right? Statistically, hasn't really hit the back of the net or done anything. But he's shown me twice now in this half that he's not quitting. And he can be the building pieces to that midfield for years to come. 9 and blue, and keeps fighting. And that's all you could ask, right? Like, who still wants to make a play? And 9 and blue does. Even though it's not going his way, he does want to make a play.
Down in Virginia, the new MO for the Cavs here in this fourth quarter. Going to run some of that clock before starting the offense on just about every possession. And up 12 goals. You would expect that. Here's more. On Donaldson, over the top, too high for Connor, and it's a turnover.
You know, you see Moore on that far side, lower left corner, taking a beating. At some point in time, you look at the score, 14-2, right? When do you start resting the guys?
Winner advances to championship weekend at East Hartford next weekend. Semifinal games on Saturday, championship game on Memorial Day. All those games, of course, on ESPN2. Road, no problem that time.
Couple number 11, Peter Thompson.
Saved by Alex Rose.
Yeah, Petro's going to be in studio for the semifinals with me and Alberto.
You're going to have a blast with him, and he's going to be awesome. And the game of lacrosse needs Dave Petramala back on the sideline.
Yeah, Petro, Dave Petramala, former head coach at Hopkins, and of course, legendary player at Hopkins.
Oh, yeah. The best defender of all time, but also the only Division I men's lacrosse player and coach to win a national championship. And his energy and his love for the game. You got to get Coach Dave Petramala back on the sideline in the college game.
Right, happy to have him in studio next week. Matt Ward will be with me as well. We'll be there in between games and halftime for the semifinal games on Saturday. Got to get the catering situation straightened out for the studio on Saturday, too, with Petro coming in.
He loves his food, but he's down a bunch of weight, too. He's getting after it.
He might get a workout in, too, then. Darno, just wide.
Foul by number 33.
Just 3 to shoot. You got to imagine Schellenberg will just dump this in the corner. Virginia will set up their ride.
Whipper! Shallow! Tell the attack, shallow! Someone go deep. Shallow!
Georgetown looking to clear. Get something going 6-on-6. Dylan Hess gets it into the restraining box. Colin Munro transferred in from North Carolina after a couple of years in Chapel Hill. Number 41 getting some playing time now. Here's Hess. Munro loses his cross and loses the ball. Tried to play it without having his stick. It was still in the play, and that's a procedural call against Georgetown. Like you said, nothing is going right for Georgetown today. It's just one of those days that Kevin Warren is just going to have to look. He's going to have to. This is going to be a tough one to swallow because they've had such an outstanding season coming into this game.
They have, and they're so young. A lot of their key players are just freshmen. And in many cases, you know, you return most of the defense outside of Joe Lacowski, and you bring in Will Bowen from North Carolina as a grad student. But I think this game can fuel their offseason, right? This is the reminder. This is kind of
like this wasn't us.
No, this wasn't us. But since this was the last time we took the field in 2021, and I'm talking about the offseason, like Coach Warren has something to fall back on in terms of motivating his team and this learning experience. All these young guys, like your offseason, this is the picture of your offseason, right? And this is kind of the message that will permeate through the locker room.
A locker room, by the way, that they have not used all year.
Yeah.
Georgetown has not been in their locker room because of COVID protocols all season long. They've been getting changed in their dorm rooms and going
like
to practice
lacrosse camp, right? You pack it up, and they haven't had that. They didn't have a fall. Right. Like they had no fall. They didn't have any players on campus. And what he did with the lack of kind of cohesiveness in the off season, with all the freshmen playing too, to go 13-2, I mean, incredible coaching job. And this isn't them. Like this is not a reflection of who they are, right? Like we saw them last week against Syracuse at their best. right? Maybe that's not the average Georgetown, but this isn't either.
Yeah, this has been just a model of frustration all day long, and it continues. I mean, just offensively, Clark, they have not been in sync. And I think a lot of credit, and you've been given it all game long, has to go to Virginia defensively.
Yes, but I mean, when you think about a team like Georgetown, right? I mean, to go into the fourth quarter with 18 shots, right? When you average almost 50 per game, that just tells you, like, the flow is off, right? You're not getting opportunities in transition.
Caraway 0-0. 51 goals on the season coming in. Goose eggs. Haley, who's the leading assist man in the country, coming in. 0-0.
When you look at this team, too, and what they have coming back, I mean, this is a legitimate preseason top 4 team. When you think about everyone they have coming back, right? You have TJ Haley behind the cage. You have Bundy and Hess. McDermott at the midfield.
Right, Watson's coming back,
yeah.
the Canadian. Plus, you mentioned, I mean, you add in a Will Bowen to the team that's the #1 defense in the country that's bringing just about everybody back.
Georgetown ground ball number 7.
Minovich, one of those with that ground ball, freshman this year. So many young players. A lot of teams, because of the expanded rosters, Clark, hadn't played a lot of freshmen this year.
You're right, because there were so many fifth-years, too, like finding new homes, and it's almost like tapping the freshman on the shoulder saying, you know what, you got to wait one more year, but not for Georgetown. Dylan Hess, I look at him as a type of guy that could do anything, 40 and blue. Reminds me of Matt Abbott from Syracuse when they won back-to-back titles in 08 and 09. Just to play him anywhere on the field, really, and just never gets gassed.
Watson here.
Shot by number
45, Dylan Watson.
But when you think about Virginia, and I've been giving props to their defense, it's not just how hard they've been playing. They've been playing smart. Like, they know the Georgetown personnel. It's like almost at the approach level when they're going after Georgetown. They're one step ahead, right, of the characteristics and the tendencies of all these Georgetown players. Like, you're not seeing anything strength-wise out of the Georgetown offense because of the way Virginia's approaching them defensively.
Watson inside. Couldn't handle the pass, but pushing it back against Virginia will give it right back to Georgetown. Now Watson will shoot, and he scores. Something for the Hoyas to cheer about, Clark, as they cut into this Virginia lead. Just too little too late for Georgetown.
Alex Rode, throughout the course of this game, been 2 for $1. Catch it, send it the other way. That looked like a knuckleball. You're not beating Rode with some regular heat today, so mix it up a bit.
5:02 remaining here in Game 1 of our quarterfinal action over the weekend. 14-3 Virginia on top, in large part to that young man right there.
Yeah, he's been amazing. There's no other word for it. He's done it up the right side, up the left side. He's done it as a passer. He's done it as a sweeping midfielder. When Georgetown has shown support, well, he evades it. Inside rolls, dipping dunks, low angle shooting. I mean, he just feels it. Instincts are off the charts. Great offensive players just feel where the defensive pressure is coming. He's our Capital One player of the game. Shocker.
Tying an all-time record by Virginia. Goals in a postseason game with 6.
It's been crazy, though. Like, when you watch him play, he can adjust so quickly to defensive pressure, and he's got the counter. Where, like, offensive players, to be honest, a lot of times they just get into a groove, and they have their style and they have their flow, and they try to force their strengths, which is kind of normal. Yeah. He's not like that at all. Like he's not trying to force anything. He's identifying the matchup, and when he gets separation, the slides or the lack of slides, like he's so quick with the next step.
Caraway got open, took a shot. Rode was there to make the stop. Now Lars Tiffany going to his bench. Jack Simmons on the field. Ronald Kumar also in that midfield unit, number 50. Simmons will burn a little bit of clock here before starting the offense. Griffin Harris on the field at that attack line. Megan Quinn, a couple guys who've been around for a little while on this Virginia team.
Been around and scored big goals too. So it just tells you about the depth of this team, right? This is really the first time these guys are getting some action, but they've been thrown into big games before.
Ten seconds to shoot for Virginia. Now Simmons makes a move. Horn sound, shot clock violation. Joe's had himself a nice day today. 8 saves, just 3 goals allowed. Hasn't been tested that much, especially early part.
Foul by number 19, Jake Caraway.
Here comes Petkovic. Caraway skip pass. Thompson thought about it. Now he shoots.
Shot by number 11, Peter Thompson, the save by Bobby
Gavin's in the game now. Goal for Virginia.
Yeah, he started the game earlier in the season against Army in February. A freshman from San Diego. Played really well too, and I think what that did for the Virginia team and coaching staff, they knew if anything ever happened to Alex Rode, like, you have a guy that can make the big stop and beat Army in February. And Army was one of those teams that a lot of people thought they'd get into the NCAA tournament.
Probably the first team out when you think about the teams that were on the bubble and the at-large bids that were handed out. Loyola got the bid out of the Patriot for advancing to the championship game in that conference. You know, I don't think either one of us, probably not very many viewers, expected this today. 14-3 Virginia with the win. We got a game coming up. What do you expect to see from Rutgers in North Carolina?
I don't think Rutgers is going to back down from fast-paced lacrosse. I think the way that they can hang with North Carolina is actually taking chances in transition, and that starts with their goalie, Colin Hurst. Like, he has to, I think, minimum 15 saves, right? If he doesn't have 15 saves, I just can't see how Rutgers would win the game. But not only what he does in the crease, but out of the crease as well. Against Lehigh last week, if you see, he's soft hands, right? So soft hands into quick offense. If it's heads up and then he's spotting streaking teammates and getting them involved in the transition game, he doesn't really let up a ton of rebounds. So you have to be worried if you're Carolina from save to transition.
Foul by number 45,
Gavin's made a couple of good saves. Down a couple of minutes.
But at the end of the day, it's going to come down to the Rutgers defense, too. There's only so much you can ask Hurst. And I haven't seen a team this year move the ball at the level of North Carolina. I mean, that ball just flies around. And off ball, this Rutgers defense has never seen a challenge like this.
It will be a fun game for us to call. hopefully for you to watch as well, coming up in about a half hour's time right here at Hempstead. The Virginia Cavaliers, the reigning national champs, their defense continues as they will head to East Hartford for yet another championship weekend performance, and it was impressive. I mentioned it before, and I'll mention it again, Clark. They serve notice. It's not like they're a mystery to anybody else out there, but they serve notice that they're ready to defend that championship in East Hartford next weekend.
Battle-tested, and today they played, you could argue, like the team that everyone felt had the pieces not only to win this game in Georgetown, right, but to make a run at a national title. So Virginia answers the bell. They go to their experience, but it was their youth and their freshman midfielder slash attackman, Connor Schellenberger, that was unguardable and unequivocally the best player on the field.
Schellenberger with 6 goals and an assist for good measure. He was our player of the game. Virginia advances. They await the winner of our next game here at Hofstra, North Carolina and Rutgers. We will bring that to you in about a half hour's time, and we expect a lot of fireworks in that one. For Paul Carcaterra and our entire crew, I'm Chris Cotter. We'll see you in a half hour.